Hey guys, welcome back to Basics with Babish, where this week we're taking a look at salads, an oft overlooked and chagrined meal accompaniment. But this roughage repast can be a robust, radiant, reliable side dish or main course in and of itself. Let's get down to basics. Okay, let's start off with everything that we need to make one of my favorite salads, panzanella, which is a kind of Italian bread salad. So if you don't like salads, this is a great way to start because it's loaded with bread. We're going to start with some ciabatta that's been cut up into bite-sized pieces that we're going to toss with olive oil, sprinkle with freshly ground pepper, kosher salt, and make sure it's all very well coated before spreading out onto a baking sheet. Parchment lining in this case is optional. Make sure that everybody's spread out, not overlapping, and laid flat. And toast at 450 degrees for about 5 minutes. While that's going, let's prepare the more salady parts of our salad. We're going to have a whole bunch of cherry tomatoes, cut one medium cucumber into bite-sized pieces, likewise with 1/2 of one red onion, and about half a dozen ciliegini, or small balls of mozzarella. We're also going to julienne some basil and put the whole thing in a bowl, give it a nice tossy toss, and let those flavors get to know each other while we make a simple vinaigrette of olive oil, white wine vinegar, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, one small shallot that we are going to mince as finely as possible. Then we're also going to grate in 1 clove of garlic, along with the requisite salt and freshly ground pepper. This is a fabulous all-purpose salad dressing. If you don't use it on the panzanella salad, that's fine, but it is entirely game-changing if you've only ever used the bottled stuff. So we're going to add our bread, which we've allowed to cool off a bit, but we want it to be just a little bit warm. We're losing a few pieces here, so let's graduate to salad tossers. Stop giggling, that's probably going to be said a lot in this episode. So once you're done tossing salad, it's time to get dressed. Drizzle on what looks like a visually appropriate amount of dressing onto the waiting salad below. Give it one final toss before plating up. I've been all about putting salads on long, wide plates nowadays. I feel like it better showcases all the beautiful ingredients than a bowl does. But it's really up to you. You are, after all, the 80s power ballad of your tossed salad. Sorry, Chef John. For one last little bit of color and flavor, we're going to top with some freshly torn basil, and there you have it, a panzanella salad. One that would make even the most stubborn carnivore grunt in unabashed pleasure. But what about if we want to make a carnivorous salad? How about the Steakhouse Classic Iceberg Wedge? This starts with browning a bunch of bacon. Do I have your attention now? Good. So let's get all of our bacon nice and crisp and drain it on paper towels. And then next up we need to make our dressing, which in this case is a buttermilk blue cheese dressing. No one said salads had to be healthy. We're starting with 3 to 4 tablespoons of buttermilk, adding 1 or 2 tablespoons of sour cream, and then probably a healthy 1/4 cup of full-fat mayo. Healthy is probably the wrong word. A generous 1/4 cup of full-fat mayo, along with 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar, 1 or 2 cloves of grated garlic, salt and pepper to taste, and then of course the titular ingredients, an unrestrained amount of high-quality crumbled blue cheese. Try to get the stuff that comes in a block, not the pre-crumbled stuff. Mix it all together and there you have it, homemade blue cheese dressing that will blow the literal pants off anything you ever bought in a bottle, figuratively. Now I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this is a salad that requires no tossing. We're just cutting 1 large head of iceberg lettuce into quarters, chopping up our bacon, chopping up some fresh chives, and having some cherry tomatoes before dressing up our iceberg wedges, topping first with chives to sort of make them pop against the white of the dressing, then cherry tomatoes, and of course the only reason this salad exists, tons and tons of bacon. And there you have it, iceberg wedge salad that has enough bacon and blue cheese to make any steakhouse blush. And last up, how about a seminal American classic, the Caesar salad, that actually was invented in Tijuana. According to the original recipe, an egg is barely tempered in boiling water for 3 minutes before being plunged in an ice bath. Next up, we're preparing our lettuce element, which in this case is romaine, which is full of dirt. So we have to take great care to make sure that that doesn't end up on our plate. First, we're going to cut it into bite-sized pieces, place it into a colander, and thoroughly rinse it. Once you are sure that you have removed all unwanted detritus from your greenery, it's time to dry it out on paper towels, while also continuing to tear it into more mouth-appropriate sized pieces. And now we're making our croutons very much in the same way we did for panzanella. Season, oil, and toss your bite-sized bread of choice, this time with the addition of a bit of garlic powder, and toast in your preheated oven until thoroughly golden brown. While that's going, it's time to make our dressing. For this, we are going to need a mortar and pestle in which we are going to grind together 1 clove of garlic and a few twists of freshly ground pepper. Then we're adding about an ounce of freshly grated Parmesan cheese, mashing into a paste that we're going to place into a bowl. Squeeze 1/2 of 1 lemon over top, making sure to catch the seeds, adding 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard that we're going to give an initial whisk. Then in a separate bowl, we are giving our cooled and separated egg yolk a nice little preliminary whisk before adding it to the aforementioned mixture. We are then going to slowly drizzle in 1/2 cup of good quality extra virgin olive oil while constantly whisking so as to create an emulsion. And there you have it, Caesar dressing. Now I know you're wondering, where are the anchovies? Well, there were not any anchovies in Cesare Cardini's original recipe. You can add 1 or 2 anchovies during the mortar and pestle stage of preparation if you like, but for now we're trying to stay true to original form. In a large bowl, we are dressing and then tossing our salad, which we are again going to dump out onto a large wide plate. Before topping with this salad's 3 simple accoutrements: our lovely homemade croutons, a generous helping of Parmesan cheese shaved into curls using a vegetable peeler, and several twists of freshly ground black pepper. And there you have it, last but not least, the original Caesar salad. This, of course, pairs beautifully with grilled chicken, grilled shrimp, salmon, hard-boiled eggs. That's really one of the beauties of salad, is once you really understand its core components, you can start to add and subtract as you see fit to make the meal of your dreams. Sort of. Thanks for watching, you guys. Keep an eye out in the near future for live streams coming to YouTube, where you can cook along with me live as I recreate what I made in last week's episode of Basics. I'll see you guys there. I'll bring the salad if you bring the whiskey. Oh, those don't pair well together? I don't care.